Hello, everybody. Just bringing you a little public service announcement to recommend what we've got going on over on Patreon this week. Brad Hansen and I have just come back from the Berlin Film Festival, and we saw some really interesting stuff. Among them, the new Abel Ferrara movie, the new Brandon Cronenberg movie, and a few other unknown gems that we would love to recommend to you. So for those of you who are signed up to our Patreon channel, you can hear that episode right now. Head on over to patreon.com/evolution of horror and hear all of our coverage of the Berlin Film Festival. And if you haven't signed up yet, then what are you doing? Get involved. It's a mere $5 per month. That's like, what, £3 or something. Sign up now and you will get access to all of our Berlin coverage, as well as a whole bunch of other bonus content. Here's a little preview of when me and Brad discussed all things Berlin Film Festival.
It's Ben Whishaw, so you know exactly. Hello there. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm meek and mild, and
I'm Paddington Bear.
I just want to have marmalade sandwiches.
Yeah.
But it's just as you think you've got it, he's like, sweeps the rug from under you, and suddenly Willem Dafoe is doing a musical number to Del Shannon's My Little Runaway.
Brilliant.
And then now we're in like cold tundra and there's blood and murder and death. He's dancing around a maypole. Like,
okay.
It's just one of these things where it's a sum of all its parts, but all its parts don't make sense.
Fine. Okay. The camera is never really off her, so all of the stuff, this other nasty, horrible abuse of power, is going on the periphery,
off screen, just out of earshot, just out of eyesight.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this insidious bubbling of like, and it looks at her kind of complicitness.
Yes.
And how comfortable she is in facilitating these abuses of power. Yeah. And the film is like sparse, barren, no score. Like, it's just a horrible kind of exploration of like the powerful and the voiceless.
And I think we probably both felt the same way about this, that somewhere in there was a really great 80 or 90 minute thriller of this guy's relentless pursuit of these kids. And there are some really tense moments as he's just like continuously sort of coming after them. But the problem is the film is, 2.25 hours?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of gumph in there as well.
It's fucking... The ADR, like, the sound design, some of the loudest I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
The gunshots, when they go off, you like feel them.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. It's really fucking sad, but really fun as well. But we both came out of there just like, I need a fucking beer. Yeah, exactly.
Because this is when I didn't have any chewing gum and I hadn't eaten. And we got out of it and I met up with you and I was like, I just want a drink.
Yeah.
And then it becomes kind of like a female exploration of friendship, but also it also kind of like Stockholm Syndrome captor sort of.
Yeah.
Where Elizabeth Moss's character takes almost pleasure in upsetting and destroying moments or people or situations. But then them kind of find this, for the young Odessa Young's character, finding that quite liberating to even be decimated, but then to also watch the decimation happen to other people.
Right.
She finds that almost kind of like thrilling.
And it gets weirder and darker and more nightmarish. And of course, it's very David Cronenberg-esque, but it's also quite Lynchian. It really reminded me of Lost Highway. That kind of like, when Bill Pullman is really losing it, when he's turned into Balthazar Getty and then he turns back and he there's that mental kind of last act. Possessor's a bit like that film. And it's also got some really, 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 really nasty gore and body horror.
And I wonder who did that.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Dan Martin was the man behind the practical effects in this, and it's really, again, there were walkouts in this film at moments of particular nasty violence and gore.
Cowards, aren't they, mate?
It's so funny.
Cowards.
So yeah, there you go. That's all I will say about it. It's fucking great. I loved it. It's probably my favourite genre film I've seen of this year so far, and I can't talk about it with anyone. And there we have it. If you want to hear a little bit more of that discussion, then please do get involved. Head on over to patreon.com/evolution of horror. That's patreon.com/evolution of horror.